Next game on the docket, number 24, Mississippi State at number 6, Alabama. Alabama favored by 21 points. The game's at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN. The over-under, 60.5 total points. Last season, Alabama won 49-9 in Starkville, and they have won 14 in a row over them Bulldogs. Does the streak come to the end this weekend?
Oh, you'd be amazed how close these teams are. That's going to be one of the first things they show you during this game is just the distance. A lot of people don't think Mississippi State and Tuscaloosa are close, but they are.
Right.
All right, just getting that out of the way before somebody steals my thunder. But I'm going to tell you here, Mike, think about this game. We got two butt-hurt teams coming into this thing. I called it the rebound game. That's exactly what it is.
Can I stop you real quick, Shane?
Yeah.
I just want to, why I'm laughing. I did another interview this morning.
Yeah.
And he's like, who do you like in this Alabama, Mississippi State? And he's like, and if you don't know, these two schools pretty close together. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, they like to throw that stat out there, you know. And it's kind of like the one that Nick Saban and his assistants, they can't use that anymore. So I'm so glad. But they're not moving, Tuscaloosa anytime soon. So this one's stuck with us for a while. And ABC's going to come around, and they're going to be like, oh, looky here. This is unique. None of the SEC fans know that. So, yes, we do. All right. But I digress. What I'm saying here, Mike, is we got two programs that are butthurt, man. They're coming off some ugly wins. Or losses, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. They should have there's a lot of Alabama fans that are still, looking in the rearview mirror, talking about Tennessee and all the calls that didn't go their way. They're talking about Burton now. They're talking about this. And they're not talking about Mississippi State. And then you look at the Bulldogs. Which team are you getting? It's like a coin toss. Are you getting the Texas A&M Mississippi State? Are you getting the Kentucky Mississippi State? Are you getting the LSU Mississippi State? I mean, you could go back and forth. And I have no confidence with Mississippi State right now. And I want to. I really want to. Because this game's teed up nicely for you. This game, the one thing I think the draw is, or the downside, if you will, is the fact that Alabama is coming off a game with Tennessee. Similar style offense, spread, moves quick, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think there's going to be some similarities there, and I think that's beneficial for the secondary to kind of fix some of them wounds that they had there in Knoxville. But again, there's part of me wondering, how hungover are these teams? Because if Mississippi State firing on all cylinders hits down there in Tuscaloosa, there's a real chance that they can walk away with a victory. But I'm just not convinced. I really think that this team is led by Bryce, and he played a hell of a game, and I expect another one this week. And as long as my captain is focused and ready for task at hand, they still control their own destiny. They still can win out. They still can win an SEC championship. They still can win a national championship. That's what Bryce wants. He wants everybody, not just to let Nick Saban know that he's the best coach. He wants everybody to know he's the best quarterback that has ever come through that university. And I expect big numbers from him this weekend. So that's why I've got Alabama winning, not covering the spread, ironically, but winning 42, Mississippi State 28. I think they backdoor that spread.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one, Shane. I mean, obviously the bounce back question for both teams, like you said. But here's my problem, Shane. Alabama, I mean, it's funny because you don't want to disrespect them too much because, I mean, my God, they rarely ever lose a football game. But I think they're overrated, Shane. And that's not to say, they're number 6. I'm not saying they should be 13 or something like that. But
right.
They probably should be, 3 or 4. So maybe they're underrated as far as the number in front of them. But where I say they're overrated was just all off season. We had to hear how they're the best. They're going to be the best in the country. They're going to just run through everybody. And I don't know if you heard it, Shane, but even Nick Saban and Will Anderson said, this team was rattled coming out here playing Tennessee. Now, Is that because of the incredible crowd? Maybe, but heck, they played down in Austin. They looked kind of rattled there too. So I I don't think this is an all-time Alabama team like many people anticipated it to be. I think the rest of the SEC is starting to catch up a little bit, brother. And Mississippi State, yes, they basically no-showed last week, and they got whooped by a very, very hungry Kentucky team with their backs against the wall. The good news, if I'm a Bulldog, this team is built to respond. Very experienced, got great leaders at key positions. I think Mississippi State has a big bounce back, Shane. And now that Alabama's lost the game, you know, I think that's some of the mystique is gone slightly where, I mean, Mississippi State's got to be looking at that film and saying, hey, we can take advantage of this Alabama team just like Tennessee did, just like Texas was able to in spurts. So I think this is going to be a competitive ball game, Shane, but man, at the end of the day, when you lost 49-9 at home, I mean, you'd be kind of foolish to pick the outright upset here. So I do like Alabama to win the game, but I like Mississippi State to cover. But I'm just not convinced, like some people are, that Nick Saban's just going to rally the troops and work them hard in practice, and we're just going to come out here and whoop everybody. I think this is just who Alabama is, and I think they're going to be in a lot of tight ball games down the stretch. So I'm going Alabama 35, Mississippi State 24.
Ooh.
So a little bit lower scoring than you, but
all right.
I think it'll be a competitive ball game.
What does Mississippi State got to do to win this thing, Mike?
Well, they're great at forcing turnovers. They got to keep that up. And Alabama's been terrible at giving the ball away. They didn't do it much in that Tennessee game, but outside of that one, they have turned it over left and right. That'll be paramount. Mike Leach's system has really struggled against Nick Saban. I think that's because up until this year, Mike Leach has kind of refused to run the ball. So get those running backs going. That's something that's lost in that Tennessee upset last week, Shane. Anytime Tennessee got off track on offense, they stayed with the running game. And it's not like they ran wild on Alabama, but it was never third and long. And that was paramount to that upset. So Mississippi State, stay out of third and longs. They're one of the best. They were terrible against Kentucky in the red zone, but up until that point, Mississippi State was literally the best offense in the country in the red zone. Got to get back to that. Take advantage of the opportunities you have, because you may not have that many. Field goals, our kicking situation's a nightmare there in Starkville. Once again, no field goals. Got to go for a touchdown every time. And the recipes for an upset are here, I really do think.